The November rain felt like ice against my face as I pressed myself against the cold brick wall of Riverside Funeral Home. Through the stained glass window, I could see the warm glow of candles and the backs of black-clad mourners filling the pews. My grandmother's casket sat at the front, surrounded by white roses, her favorites. She couldn't make it. I heard my father's voice drift through the cracked window. Sophia's somewhere in Europe, backpacking or whatever she calls it these days. You know how she is always running from responsibility. My fingernails dug into my palms. I'd driven 14 hours straight from Chicago when I heard about Grandma Rose's passing, only to find the funeral director politely but firmly inform me that I wasn't on the list. My own grandmother's funeral, and I wasn't on the list. But what made my blood turn to ice wasn't being barred from entry. It was what I saw next. A woman sat in the front row in my spot, wearing a black dress identical to the one I'd worn to every family funeral since I was 16. Her hair was dyed the same shade of auburn as mine, pulled back in the same low bun I always wore. When she turned her head slightly to dab at her eyes with a handkerchief, I saw she even had my distinctive birthmark drawn on her neck. She was crying perfectly, not too much, not too little. The grieving granddaughter performed to perfection. Poor Sophia, my Aunt Linda was saying to someone. She and Rose were so close. She must be devastated, wherever she is. The actress nodded, shoulders shaking with practiced sobs. I pulled out my phone, fingers numb from the cold, and started recording through the window. Whatever sick game my family was playing, I was going to document every second of it. The service continued with readings and hymns. My Uncle Peter gave a eulogy that painted our family as one big happy unit, conveniently leaving out how they'd systematically pushed me out over the past 5 years. My cousin Melissa sang Amazing Grace off-key as always. And through it all, the fake Sophia sat there, playing her role. When the service ended and people began filing out for the burial, I slipped around to the back entrance. I knew this building. Grandma Rose had been on the funeral home's board for 20 years. I'd spent countless afternoons here with her, discussing life and death over tea in the director's office. The side door was unlocked. Bless Mrs. Chen, the cleaning lady who always worked Saturdays. I slipped inside and up the back stairs to the second-floor viewing room that overlooked the main chapel. From here, I could see and hear everything while remaining hidden. The burial was private, family only. I watched them load the casket into the hearse, watched the actress climb into the family limousine with my parents, watched them drive away to bury my grandmother without me. But I knew what came next. The will reading was scheduled for 4 p.m., back at the funeral home's conference room. Grandma Rose had been meticulous about her final wishes, and she'd insisted the reading happen immediately after the burial. No time for the vultures to scheme, she'd always said with a wink. I waited in my hiding spot, surviving on vending machine coffee and the rage burning in my chest. At 3:45, they all filed back in, shaking rain from their umbrellas. The actress was still there, still playing me, now with my mother's arm wrapped around her shoulders. "This is so hard," the fake Sophia said in a voice nothing like mine. "I just can't believe she's gone." "We're all here for you, sweetheart," my mother cooed. "Grandma Rose would want you to be strong." I bit my tongue hard enough to taste blood. Attorney Maxwell Crawford entered precisely at 4 p.m., his silver briefcase in one hand and a sealed box in the other. He was Grandma Rose's lawyer for 40 years, and the sight of his familiar face made my eyes burn with unshed tears. "Please everyone, have a seat," he said, his deep voice filling the room. "I know this is a difficult day, but Rose was very specific about her wishes." They all settled around the conference table, my parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and the actress still pretending to be me. From my vantage point above, I could see everything perfectly. Mr. Crawford set down his briefcase and a mysterious box, then pulled out a thick manila envelope. "Before we begin, I must inform you that Rose left very specific instructions for this reading." He pulled out a tablet and set it on the table. She requested that we begin with a video message she recorded 6 months ago. My father shifted uncomfortably. "Is that really necessary, Maxwell? We're all very emotional." "I'm afraid it's not optional, Thomas," Mr. Crawford said firmly. "Rose's instructions were quite clear. Any deviation from her wishes will result in the immediate dissolution of all inheritances, with assets transferring to her designated charities." That shut him up. Mr. Crawford tapped the tablet, And suddenly my grandmother's face filled the screen. My heart clenched. She looked thinner than I remembered, but her eyes still held that sharp intelligence that had always seen right through everyone's nonsense. "Hello, my darlings." Grandma Rose's voice filled the room. "If you're watching this, then I'm gone, and you're all gathered for the reading of my will. But before we get to who gets what, we need to address something important." She paused, and even on video, her gaze seemed to sweep the room. "I need to verify that my granddaughter, Sophia Marie Bennett, is actually present." The actress straightened up, preparing for her big moment. My mother patted her hand encouragingly. "You see," Grandma Rose continued, "I've become aware of certain behaviors in this family. Attempts to isolate Sophia, to turn her into the black sheep, to push her out of her rightful place. I've watched it happen, and I stayed silent, gathering evidence and waiting." The room had gone very still. "So before we proceed, I need to make absolutely certain that the real Sophia is here. Maxwell, please open the box." Mr. Crawford lifted the sealed box and carefully opened it. Inside were several items: a stack of photographs, what looked like DNA test kits, and another sealed envelope. "First," Grandma Rose's voice continued, "I'd like Sophia to tell everyone about the song I used to sing to her when she was little. The one I made up just for her when she had nightmares." The actress's face went pale. She glanced at my parents, who were both leaning forward, clearly having prepped her for many things but not this. I don't," the actress stammered. "It's okay, sweetheart," my father said quickly. "You're emotional. It was so long ago." Now Grandma Rose's voice cut through. "My Sophia would never forget the Butterfly's Lullaby. She made me sing it every night until she was 12. She even sang it to me when I was in the hospital last year." The actress was sweating now, her perfect makeup starting to run. "Second," Grandma Rose continued relentlessly, "please have Sophia show everyone the scar on her left palm. The one she got when she was 8, trying to save that injured cardinal in my garden. We never told her parents because she was supposed to be at piano practice." The actress clutched her hands together, and I could see from my perch that her palms were unmarked. And finally, Grandma Rose's eyes seemed to bore into the camera. "I'd like Sophia to tell everyone what I whispered to her the last time we saw each other. My last words to my real granddaughter." The room was tomb silent. The actress looked ready to bolt. My parents were exchanging panicked glances. "I'm waiting," Grandma Rose said after a long pause. "Or perhaps the real Sophia isn't there at all. Perhaps someone thought they could fool me even in death." My Uncle Peter cleared his throat. "Mom, this is—" "Maxwell," Grandma Rose interrupted. "If the woman claiming to be Sophia cannot answer these simple questions, please proceed with Protocol B." Mr. Crawford nodded and pulled out his phone. "I'll need to make a call." "Wait." I stepped out of my hiding place and into the doorway of the conference room. "I'm here, Grandma. I'm here." Every head in the room whipped toward me. The actress gasped. My mother went white as a sheet. "The Butterfly's Lullaby," I said, my voice steady despite the tears rolling down my cheeks. "You sang it in French because you said butterflies spoke all languages. Petit papillon, dans le jardin, cherche les fleurs jusqu'au matin." I held up my left palm, showing the curved scar that had never quite faded. The cardinal lived, by the way. We released it together 2 weeks later. I stepped fully into the room, ignoring the shocked faces, looking only at the tablet screen where my grandmother's frozen image waited. "And the last thing you said to me when everyone thought you were sleeping was the truth always finds its wings, my little butterfly. Be ready to fly when it does." Mr. Crawford smiled. A real smile, the first I'd seen from him all day. "Miss Bennett, we've been expecting you." "What the hell is going on?" My father exploded, jumping to his feet. "Sophia, what are you doing here? You were supposed to be—" "In Europe," I finished, conveniently out of reach, unable to make it back in time. I looked at the actress, who was shrinking in her chair. "Who is she, Dad? How much did you pay her to be me?" "This is ridiculous," my mother said. Her voice was shaking. "We only wanted—" "You wanted Grandma Rose's money," I said flatly. "And you knew she'd never leave it to you if she knew how you treated me. So you hired a replacement, a grieving granddaughter who would play the part and then, what? Sign over her inheritance to you?" Mr. Crawford cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should continue with the video." The screen unfroze, and Grandma Rose smiled, a sharp, knowing smile. "Ah, there's my real granddaughter." Hello, my little butterfly. I'm so sorry for what you've had to endure. But don't worry, we're about to make it right. She leaned forward slightly. You see, family, I've known about your schemes for quite some time. The birthday parties Sophia wasn't invited to by mistake. The family vacation she somehow never heard about. The way you've tried to paint her as unstable, irresponsible, a disappointment. All because she refused to fall in line with your expectations. Mother, this is. Aunt Linda started. Shut up, Linda, Grandma Rose snapped. I'm dead. The least you can do is let me finish. She composed herself. Where was I? Ah, yes, your conspiracy against my granddaughter. Well, I have news for you. Every text, every email, every nasty little plan. I have copies of everything, including the messages from last week about hiring an actress for my funeral. The room erupted. Everyone was talking at once, accusing each other, denying involvement. The actress tried to slip out, but Mr. Crawford blocked the door. Enough. Grandma Rose's voice boomed from the speakers. Everyone fell silent. Here's what's going to happen. Sophia, my darling, you inherit everything. The house, the investments, the company shares. All of it. Roughly $14 million. Last time I checked. I sank into an empty chair, my legs suddenly unable to hold me. As for the rest of you, Grandma Rose's voice turned cold. You get exactly what you deserve. Nothing. Well, that's not entirely true. I've left each of you something special. Mr. Crawford pulled out a series of envelopes, each labeled with a name. Thomas, my son, you get the photo album documenting every lie you've told about Sophia, including the screenshots where you bragged about managing her out of the family. Share them with your colleagues at the firm. I'm sure they'll find them illuminating. Linda, darling daughter, you get the recording of you trying to convince Dr. Patterson to declare Sophia mentally unfit. He refused, by the way, and was quite disturbed by your request. Peter, you get the email chain where you tried to have Sophia arrested for stealing from the family business, the same business she's never had access to, and so on and so forth. Each of you gets a carefully documented record of your cruelty. Consider it my final gift, the truth preserved forever. The family members were ripping open their envelopes, faces growing more horrified with each revealed document. Now Grandma Rose continued, you have two choices. You can accept this quietly and maintain whatever dignity you have left. Or you can contest the will, in which case all of these documents become public record, and have arranged for them to be sent to your employers, your social circles, and yes, the media. I think the headline prominent family hires actress to replace granddaughter at funeral would trend quite nicely, don't you? My father crumpled the photos in his hands. She can't do this. We're her children. You stopped being my children the day you conspired against my granddaughter, Grandma Rose said. Family isn't about blood. It's about love, loyalty, and respect. You showed none of those things. The video paused and Mr. Crawford looked at me. Miss Bennett, there's one more thing. Your grandmother left you a personal message to be viewed privately whenever you're ready. I nodded, not trusting my voice. As for the rest of you, Mr. Crawford said, gathering his papers, you have 24 hours to decide. Contest the will or accept it quietly. I'd advise the latter. Rose was very thorough in her preparations. The actress finally spoke up. What about me? I didn't know. They told me it was a prank, that Sophia was in on it. You can discuss that with them, Mr. Crawford said dismissively. I'd suggest getting your payment up front. One by one, my family filed out, some in tears, others in rage, all in defeat. My mother paused at the door, looking back at me. Sophia, we only wanted. Don't, I said quietly. Just don't. When they were all gone, Mr. Crawford handed me a small USB drive. Your grandmother's personal message. She also wanted me to give you this. He pulled out a small jewelry box. Inside was Grandma Rose's butterfly brooch, the one she'd worn every day since Grandpa died. It was Art Deco, with sapphire wings and tiny diamonds. I'd always admired it. She wanted you to know, Mr. Crawford said gently, that she never doubted you. Not for a moment, and she was so proud of the woman you've become, despite everything they tried to do to you. I pinned the brooch to my rain-dampened dress, right over my heart. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Maxwell, please. We'll need to meet next week to go over all the details of your inheritance. It's quite substantial, and Rose had very specific wishes for how she wanted you to use some of it. But for now, go home. Rest. Grieve properly. As I left the funeral home, I passed the actress smoking a cigarette by the dumpsters. Her fake birthmark was smudged and her rented dress was askew. I really am sorry, she said. They told me you were estranged, that you'd abandoned the family. They made it sound like I was helping. I studied her for a moment. What's your name? Your real name? Jessica. I'm an actress, obviously. Not a very good one, apparently. No, I agreed. But good enough to fool them. That's something. I pulled out my wallet and handed her a card. I'm going to need a personal assistant. Someone detail-oriented who can play different roles when needed. Interested? Her eyes widened. Are you serious? My grandmother always said the best revenge is success. I've got $14 million and a list of charities my family hates. I could use some help spending it creatively. Jessica grinned. When do I start? Monday, and Jessica, come as yourself this time. As I drove away from the funeral home, the rain finally stopped. A small blue butterfly landed on my windshield wiper, resting for a moment before flying away. I could almost hear Grandma Rose's voice. Truth always finds its wings, little butterfly. Thanks, Grandma, I whispered. I'm ready to fly. The USB drive sat in my pocket, waiting. But I'd watch her message later, in private, with a cup of her favorite tea and the photo album I'd hidden away. The real one, full of genuine memories of a grandmother who saw me for who I really was. For now, I had a new life to plan. One where family meant something different. Something better. Something true.